Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Bold and the Beautiful. Steffy captures Ridge on a celestial plane. Bold and the Beautiful has Ridge Forrester as the focus for Steffy Forrester when she dabbles with a celestial plane, better known as her mother's healing session on the CBS soap. B&B fans suggest this scene was a waste of time, as it brought nothing to the storyline. But maybe it gives the Forrester daughter a new tool to go after what she wants without breaking a promise. Bold and the Beautiful fans see Steffy Forrester, Jacqueline Macinswood, plugged into a scene that feels as if it were meant to fill the time rather than add anything to the storyline. She was on the floor with her mother and Chandra, Manita Gandhi, doing chakras, which fans thought went nowhere. But the mantra here is to follow your heart. It starts with Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, Hart, leading back to Ridge Forrester, Thorsten K. But it looks like Steffy might take advantage of this. During the meditation, Steffy Forrester's heart led back to when her parents were together and her twin sister was alive. So it looks like Steffy syncs her heart with what her mom's heart desires. This might be part of Steffy's matchmaking ploy. The same matchmaking she promised would never happen a while back on Bold and Beautiful. So maybe the scene does have some future purpose. The Forrester daughter can keep her promise and still push the doctor and the dressmaker together again. Steffy now has Ridge as the center of her meditation, just like her mom. So the mother and daughter's hearts capture Ridge being with Taylor. Maybe not matchmaking yet, but very wishful thinking on Steffy's part. Bold and the Beautiful had Ridge Forrester witness just how much he added to Taylor's unhappiness and pain when he did a chakra session with her. Now their daughter joins her mother, and she too emerges in pain and sadness. Much like Taylor, Steffy's vision of a good place was when Ridge and Taylor were together. So it's likely Ridge Forrester soon finds himself invited to join Steffy and Taylor for a family session. Or maybe he stumbles upon his ex and daughter having a session with Chandra. At the very least, Ridge Forrester might hear about Steffy's gloom and doom from Taylor. She could inform Ridge that Steffy's problem stems from Ridge leaving their family. Ridge Forrester was moved by learning he was the foundation of Taylor's broken heart syndrome. So if he discovers how his choices affect Steffy Forrester's life, this might be the push he needs. Steffy might get her parents together, but by using a celestial level of matchmaking on the CBS soap. Steffy Forrester had always been a force of nature. With her piercing gaze and a spirit forged in the fires of Forrester creations, she'd mastered the boardroom and the battlegrounds of love alike. But today, she was entering uncharted territory, a journey that even her sharp instincts couldn't entirely prepare her for. The mirror in her bedroom reflected an unusual sight. Steffy, wrapped in a silk robe adorned with constellations, holding a book that shimmered faintly under the moonlight. The title read, Astral Bonds, Bridging the Cosmos. It had been a gift from her late grandmother, Stephanie, who always believed in the mystical bonds that connected family beyond time and space. That night, Ridge Forrester, her father, had been on her mind more than usual. His marriage to Brooke was in shambles again, and his tension with Taylor, Steffy's mother, was palpable. Ridge seemed lost, as though the weight of decades of choices and unspoken words had finally taken their toll. Steffy was determined to reach him, but this time not in a traditional way. The words of her grandmother echoed in her memory. Sometimes, the answers you seek aren't of this world. Trust your instincts, Steffy. They'll guide you when logic fails. With a deep breath, she opened the book and began to read aloud. Steffy felt her body grow lighter, as though gravity itself were releasing her. The room dimmed, and a radiant glow filled the space. When she opened her eyes again, she was no longer in her bedroom. She stood in a vast celestial plane, an ethereal space of swirling stars, shimmering auroras, and floating islands that pulsed with a heartbeat-like rhythm. "Dad?" Steffy called out, her voice carrying like a song through the cosmic expanse. From the distance, a figure began to form, stepping through a veil of stardust. It was Ridge, but not as she'd ever seen him before. He looked younger, freer, his signature designer stubble gone, replaced with a smooth, youthful face. His eyes, however, bore the same stormy intensity she recognized as her father's trademark. "Steffy?" Ridge's voice echoed, tinged with surprise and wonder. What is this?" "This is the place between," Steffy explained, stepping closer. "It's where I had to come to reach you. Dad, you're lost, and I need you to find yourself, for all of us." Ridge looked around, bewildered. "I didn't know I was lost." "Of course you didn't," she said softly. "You've been stuck in a cycle. Brooke, Taylor, Brooke again. You're fighting battles that should have ended years ago. But you can't see the damage it's doing to you and to us." Ridge crossed his arms, his defensive posture a stark contrast to the vulnerability etched on his face. "I'm doing my best, Steffy. I've always tried to do right by everyone. You, Thomas, Taylor, even Brooke." Steffy stepped closer, her tone firm but compassionate. "You think doing right means juggling everyone's happiness, but you're just spinning plates. And every time one falls, we all shatter a little more." The stars around them began to shift, forming scenes from Ridge's life, his wedding to Brooke on the beach, Taylor's tearful confessions, Steffy's childhood memories of him reading her bedtime stories. Each memory shimmered with an intensity that made Ridge flinch. "I don't know how to fix it," Ridge admitted, his voice cracking. "I love them both, Steffy. How can I choose?" Steffy shook her head, her dark hair catching the light of a passing comet. "It's not about choosing between them, Dad. It's about choosing yourself. You spend your whole life trying to please everyone else. But who is Ridge Forrester, really? What do you want?" The question hung in the air, heavy with truth. Ridge turned away, staring into the vastness of the celestial plane. "I don't know," he whispered. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled and cracks formed, revealing a swirling abyss below. The cosmic plane reacted to Ridge's turmoil, mirroring his inner conflict. Steffy grabbed his arm, steadying him. "Dad, you have to confront this," she urged. "If you don't face your own truth, it will consume you, and us with it." Ridge stared at her, his eyes filled with both fear and determination. "How do I begin? How do I even start to untangle it all?" Steffy smiled, her expression softening. "By letting go of the past, forgive yourself for the mistakes, and stop carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. Mom, Brooke, even as kids, we don't need you to be perfect. We just need you to be real." The celestial plane began to change, the crack sealing as Ridge's breathing steadied. The swirling stars formed a path, leading toward a distant light. Ridge hesitated but felt Steffy's steady presence beside him. "Will you walk with me?" he asked. "Always," she replied, her voice unwavering. As they moved forward, Ridge began to shed the shadows that clung to him. Visions of old arguments and painful choices dissolved, replaced by memories of joy and love. For the first time in years, Ridge felt a sense of clarity, a connection to something greater than himself. When they reached the light, Ridge turned to Steffy, his eyes shining with gratitude. "You've always been stronger than I realized. Thank you for reminding me of who I am." Steffy smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "You don't have to thank me. We're family, Dad. That's what we do." The light enveloped them, and Steffy felt herself being pulled back to the earthly plane. She opened her eyes to find herself in her bedroom, the book resting in her lap. The celestial plane was gone, but its impact lingered in her heart. The next morning, Steffy walked into Forrester Creations and found Ridge waiting in her office. He looked different, calmer, more centered. "You okay, Dad?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. Ridge nodded, a small smile playing on his lips. "I think I will be, thanks to you." Steffy's heart swelled with pride. For all the drama and heartache that had defined their family, moments like this reminded her of their unbreakable bond. Whatever challenges lay ahead, She knew they could face them together, grounded in truth, love, and the stars that had guided them home.